Okay, welcome back to day 57. You put my hand right on over the camera, that's real professional. Anyways, do you like my new sign? I got that for Christmas. I hope it looks good on camera, because I like it. Looks nice. But yeah, so I don't know if I said this, but I opened my gifts for my aunt, and it was really funny because my two siblings, they got scarves, and a lot of the things overlapped. Like we got this little like bowl for like jewelry or rings and stuff in our birth month, and it's really cute. But you know, and then we all got mugs too that all like work together and stuff. Blah blah. So she likes giving each of us like the same thing. And then I guess to be more personalized and maybe even more manly, she didn't give me a scarf, but she gave my two siblings scarves. I'm like, guys can wear scarves, you know? So it's really odd that she, I guess, thought now that I'm a man, I don't wear scarves, which is funny because I guess I don't usually do, I guess, but it's mainly because I just don't see it, but also because like this year we can't go out anywhere. Like I haven't been out anywhere. Of course I'm not wearing a scarf, but especially because I'm scared it's gonna be on me and then I'm gonna adjust it or take it on and off and right next to the face, you know. Don't want that. But yeah, so that's funny. But she got me two shirts and they're not good, which I think I did talk about before. But my order from one store came, and it was doing a sale. You buy two things, you get the third thing free. And I'm like, you know, depends on what you buy, it's worth it. Because I did want these things. I've been looking at these things, so that's why I'm gonna buy them. Anyway, so what happened was I bought the things and I wanted 5 items, so that if the sixth item would be free then. So I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do is just buy something for someone else. So what happened is I was sending my mom these different shirts, and I'm like, hey, do you like this do you like these designs of these shirts, blah blah. She's like, yeah, I really like this one. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know, blah blah blah. And they're like, no, she's like, this one. I'm like, I'm just gonna get her the shirt. So I did, and she said she really liked it, and I think it looks really good in person, because online I was kind of scared, blah blah, but I think it looked really good. Yeah, I think I also talked about it, but I watched a documentary, a trans documentary, Disclosure, and I really liked it. I highly recommend watching Disclosure on Netflix or wherever you can find it. And it has the trans guy that I first had the thought that I might be trans. It was Chaz Bono, and it was an interview of him, and I remember, well, not of him, it's the story of him. I remember it was back in 2010, 2011, and he was on the beach topless after top surgery, and he was just so happy, and he was with someone which may or may not have been his significant other, I think it was, and it was just so sweet to see a trans person happy, and it was the first real trans man I ever saw, and I'm like, I wish I was trans so I can transition, or I wish I was a boy so I can transition like he did. And that's when I think, you know, it kind of started turning, this idea in my head, and I don't know which came first. It was very, very close together. But there was the TV show Cold Case, which I actually kind of enjoyed. I think I want to watch it again. I found it on a website and I just been watching it previously, and watched like 5 episodes, and I should watch some more. Really enjoy it. Very woke for being 2003. Anyways, and it was later on, I think, in the series. And yeah, there was the first time I think I saw a character that's trans. The very first time I saw a trans guy character, and what happened is he was brutally murdered, and I remember watching it, and I in a weird way I was angry at him, or confused by him, because I'm like, if you knew this was going to happen, if you knew you were going to be killed, if you knew that you might never have happiness with someone because you're trans, why would you transition? And that's when I realized, you know, like, he was being happy, and he was actually being himself, and being himself would have been happy even if no one, you know, liked him. And that's also not true. If he escaped that town, that city he was in, he could have been happy with someone, to somewhere else, because there have been trans people forever. And that was really an intense thing to watch, and I think that was the first time in years that I'm like, I kind of, a big thing that I saw myself in, and it was really, really important to see that. But again, it was awful, because he was in a mental asylum because he was trans, and he actually got shock therapy, electrocuted his brain until he died. And he actually had a boyfriend, and somebody that used his real name, not his dead name, I think, and liked him for who he was. And the problem is, I see it this way in my head, this is how I watched it, and when I last looked it up and stuff, but I haven't watched it since. Like, when it would play, I would watch it. I would be like, oh, this episode I'm gonna watch, when there was like a marathon. But I haven't watched it since I came out, or since I've been an adult. I don't know if it still holds up, if it's good or not, but I just remember watching it and it being so, like, somehow I feel connected to the story, and I think that's really interesting to see. But I don't know, especially with like Chaz, he's plus size, and he was on hormones, and he had a beard, and he had top surgery, and it's something that I remember literally being like, I wish I was a boy so I could transition like he did. And then I went, no, you don't want that, you don't want transition, you don't want to be a boy, you're not going to be a boy, don't think like that. And to realize that that's not how that works. Me saying I want to be a boy is being a boy, even if you're like, man, I wish I was a boy, but I didn't want to transition. That can still mean you're trans. And I'm not going to be like, oh, deem you trans, but it's just something that I think, you know, it was the first sign of being trans is wanting to be the other gender, or a different gender. And I think that's really important to realize, and I think that's really interesting. But yeah, I definitely remember that moment very clearly. And I talked to I guess a therapist, ? And I talked to him, and he was saying things when we were interviewing. He was very nice, so I'm very excited. And I have a friend that I met in college, and she recently came out as trans, and I messaged her being like, hey, I'm trans too, I'm coming out slowly to everyone, but I haven't like come out to my Facebook, like everyone, but I'm really glad to see it, and I want to tell you personally before, you know, just to reach out personally. And she was really sweet. She seemed to know what to say, and I am going to have to message her tomorrow because I definitely want to tell her that I talked to a therapist and what's going to go happen and everything. And but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I got some nice pants. They, I think, look really nice. I think so. I hope so. What time is it? Because that's squeaking. It might be a bird, but I don't think it's late enough. Depending which way you think. I don't think it should be time for birds to be appearing. I hope not. It might be. It might be. When you stay up too late. Yeah, I should rewatch that episode. Yeah, my siblings want to move out, and I'm obviously saddened by it because everyday life will be a lot quieter. But I think it's really nice because I get to move out of my very small room and move into one of their bedrooms. And I hope I get a nice little area to make mine, because this room has, I don't know, maybe I could use this room. I don't know, but yeah, because I went on Facebook to like one of my aunt's posts. I was gonna say tweets, but it's not Twitter. she was talking about the riots, coup, not protests up in DC. And anyways, when I went there, one lady from church, I tried to unfriend her and unfriend her, and it didn't do anything. And I'm like, Facebook, are you glitched? Why can't I unfriend her? So I like unfollowed her, which is a different thing, and you can take a break, which, so I'm just like, no, I want to unfriend her. I just want to bye. So finally it worked, and after like reloading the page 8 billion times. But what happened was when I went to her page, I actually saw her son's page, because he was apparently having surgery, blah 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 blah. And I knew him, like I knew him like personally. He's my age, and back then he said some homophobic things just by being by himself. He can be bi, but he put homophobia and racism and transphobia and all that before everything else. And I'm like, cool. Also, you're a misogynist. Cool. And so what happened was I went to his page too, and he posted like making a joke about how the previous timelines of things, about different blah blah, and being like, look at it back then, there's like events that happened year after year after year, and it's like the next event is that Japan bombs Hawaii, and I'm like, are you saying Japan's gonna bomb us? Like, and so that one just kind of confused me, because I'm like, I can't tell. Are you trying to be like, what, racist? Are you trying to be like, oh, if this happens, that'd be weird, we should be cautious and stuff? And I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to say. But then with the other thing, which is he posted about the protests and stuff, and like praising it, being like, that's how you do it. And I'm just like, you are a Nazi. You're a fucking Nazi. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck off with me. You're a fucking Nazi. What the fuck? Anyways, so I don't know because like he previously 4 years ago was like, oh, anyone that votes for Donald Trump is a Nazi. Sure. I'm like, no, not everyone that voted for Donald Trump's a Nazi, but if you agree with and apologize and side with someone that has certain ideas, yeah. And that was back with like white supremacy and stuff. But then having it be now talking about things like, oh, suddenly if you agree with him, you're not. It's like, yeah, especially now. Also, he said that back then when there was the white supremacy KKK gathering in Southern Virginia, I think, where they were literally had swastikas, they had KKK masks and everything, and I'm like, you aren't saying that they shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, if you're praising this behavior, especially now with this stuff, I don't know if he's praising it back then, but praising it now you're a Nazi. Now you were a white supremacy, you're the whole concept. Now you're a white supremacist, and now you're a Nazi. So fuck off. Sorry. Not really. Screw you. Go burn in hell.